my name is Veronica, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation. How did that one do?
That was very good. Do just maybe one or two more, okay?
World welterweight title holder and still undefeated Gabriel El Capitan.
How is that possible? Now, I try not to get upset by these things, but how is that even? Joe Goosen, I'm stunned it was 114, 113, and I thought that has to be in favor of Fox. How could it even be that close?
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So now that I finished covering the Olympics, the boxing Olympics, is back to reporting bad news in boxing. I'm really going to miss the Olympics, man. I mean, those 2 weeks, watching the best against each other in the most competitive matchups, when once again, we don't get these big type of fights sometimes in 5 or 10 years. You get all the super fights in the Olympics within 2 weeks. So I'm really going to miss that. And because I'm out here in Thailand and the Olympics was in Japan, I was able to sit down and watch the fights all day because they came on right in the afternoon for me. So I would wake up and get ready to watch all of the fights. But it's over now, and we got to wait another 3 years to see it again. So with that being said, let's get into the news. So Gabriel Maestre versus Michael Fox becomes one of the biggest robberies of all time. I was about to say the biggest robbery of the year, but it goes way beyond this year. And you know the craziest thing? The craziest thing is the robbery is not even the biggest story. Because robberies happen all the time in boxing, unfortunately. This one was just a little bit more egregious than others, but they happen all the time. I mean, it's so normalized that it seems like it's just part of the sport. And we know that it's been normalized because every single time Canelo Alvarez fights, even when DAZN commentators have him down losing a fight, you go to the scorecards and they have him winning almost every single round. Even when Canelo fought Mayweather, one of the judges had that fight a draw. Her name was CJ Ross. She actually had a reputation of turning in controversial scorecards. Now take a look at this, just to show you guys how corrupted CJ Ross was. Look at this report right here. I'm reading the last sentence. It says, out of 86 media scorecards, all 86 scored the fight for Mayweather with an average score of 119 to 109. And once again, CJ Ross was the only person that had to fight a draw. And then surprisingly, right after scoring that fight a draw, she up and retires. As if somebody paid her off and she no longer has to do any work anymore. It's no different than a person robbing a bank and then quitting his job the very next day. So CJ Ross at that time was pound for pound the most corrupt and infamous judge in the sport of boxing. But today someone has completely snatched that title from her, and that's Gloria Martinez. Now, understand this, guys. All 3 judges actually had Maestre winning the fight. You know, normally a robbery, it ends in a split decision. This is the reason why, you know, right when the fight ends and they're about to announce who the winner is, a lot of times when you know that it should be a unanimous decision, and all of a sudden you hear the announcer says, we have a split decision, and the crowd is like, what? You hearing boos and all kind of stuff like that, because you know that there's most likely a robbery about to take place. But in this case, the robbery was unanimous because all 3 judges had Maestre winning the fight. From scores of 114 to 113, 115, 112 to 117, 111, which was Gloria Martinez's scorecard. Coincidentally, the fighter Maestre, he's from Nicaragua. That's the same country that this judge, Gloria Martinez, is from. Now, some would think, okay, well, yeah, that is a robbery, but I can understand someone from the same country being a little biased. If that were all this was, it would still be corruption. But now we find out it's much bigger than that. It turns out this woman is one of the most racist people working in the sport of boxing, and working as a judge at that. Talk about a racist hiding in plain sight. Soon as she turned this scorecard in, a lot of her racist posts started to surface. This woman has called Michelle Obama a monkey. She's a major Trump supporter, by the way, as well. In defense of Donald Trump, she said the co-founder of Black Lives Matter should be killed because the co-founder said she wants Donald Trump out of the White House. Now, she has tons of tweets like this. I mean, I could go through all of them, but you guys pretty much get the point. Every black person that fights against racism is a person that she hates. Well, actually, correction. Those are the people she hates even more, because clearly she's a racist to all black people. What do I always tell you guys? Boxing is based on race, nationality, and pride. I always tell you guys, unfortunately, at least a good 90% of boxing fans, old media, they're racist. I mean, just think about this for a second. Have you guys noticed no boxing websites really has reported this racist stuff that she tweeted? Do you guys know how big this story would be if she was working in the NFL, if she was working for the NBA, if she was an actor? Hell, even if she was on a reality TV show. This would have been the biggest news, one of the biggest stories trending in the country. And yet in boxing, sure, people are saying that this was a robbery, but they're all ignoring the fact that this woman is a racist. And she's working as a boxing judge, judging black guys fighting against fighters that aren't black. And she's handing in the most lopsided scorecards. You're not going to speak on that? Guys, just imagine, this is only the tip of the iceberg. If you have a judge that's this racist, imagine how many other racists are in some of the most influential positions in the sport of boxing. I mean, you got Chris Mannix, who has pretty much taken the title from Jim Lampley as the Grand Wizard of the decafs today. The only difference from him and Gloria Martinez is he's smart enough to not go on his Instagram or his Twitter and start racially offending black people. Chris Mannix, he's just going to make sure he gives all of the fighters on the Hope list credit and completely ignores the black fighters, trying to prevent the black fighters from even getting close to the fighters that he likes on the Hope list. For example, Jojo Diaz, who just fought to be the mandatory for Devin Haney's belt. Chris Mannix, he asked Jojo Diaz about him fighting against Ryan Garcia and doesn't even mention Devin's name when he knows that Jojo is actually fighting to be in position to fight for his belt. When Canelo was still fighting at 160, whenever Canelo or Golovkin want to fight, Chris Mannix would only ask them about fighting each other. He would never mention Andre's name. He would never mention Charlo's name. And then when Andre would fight, he would only ask him, when are you going to fight against Jamal Charlo? Matter of fact, the last time Andre fought, he had the nerve to tell Andre, that's like one of the biggest fights that can be made. You against Charlo. When can we get that fight? So wait a minute. If that's one of the biggest fights that can be made, how is Charlo versus Canelo or Andre versus Canelo not a big fight that can be made? See, the difference from, once again, Chris Mannix and a Max Kellerman is they know how to stay on code. But because Gloria Martinez is one of these crazed, racist Trump supporters, if you guys have noticed, it's very, very hard for those type of people to stay on code. I mean, they got so much racism flooding out of their pores, they can't hold it all in. It's gonna come out eventually. By the way, the image that you guys are looking at on the screen right now, that man, his name is Joe DeMarco. As you can see, he's a Trump supporter. He has the All Lives Matter flag, and he's mocking the death of George as he has his knee on his brother's neck. Well, just so you guys know how this turned out, these two brothers became so infamous from this shot right here that they both got fired from their jobs. Joe, he had worked for FedEx for, I think, like 20 years. He got fired. And his brother, the one who's laying on the ground, he was a correctional officer and he got fired from his job as well. Now back to this other racist Trump supporter, Gloria Martinez. Once again, people are talking about doing an investigation. The WBA actually gave this woman, Gloria Martinez, an award before this happened. They awarded her as the Female Judge of the Year. The WBA did this. I'm telling you guys right now, this is blood on their hands if they don't do anything about this. This woman should never come close to ever judging a fight again. The WBA, they just recently came out and said they're going to interview the judges. Now, I understand them interviewing the other two judges, but what's the point of interviewing this judge in particular? Her career should be completely over with. If any organization hires this woman to judge another fight, they are guilty by association. You ever heard the saying, you are who you hang out with? This is the reason why so many people get fired when they end up sending some kind of racist tweet, or they end up accidentally saying something racist, or I wouldn't say accidentally, but they end up saying something racist. Next thing you know, they're getting fired. Why? Because the company that they're working for, if they keep them there, then they're basically endorsing and condoning that behavior. And that's exactly what the WBA would be doing, or any other organization, if they allow this woman to score another boxing match. I'm gonna keep telling you guys, just like a rapist has to register as a sex offender, a racist should have to register as a race offender. It should follow them everywhere they go. When they move into a new neighborhood, when you apply for a job and they want a background check, that should show up on your background check. Everyone needs to know who they're working next to, right? If you have a job where you have to rely on this person to keep you safe, don't you think it's important to know if that person is a racist or not? If customers are going to a restaurant and that restaurant has racist people working there, shouldn't customers know about that? Hell, if you got some racist cooks in the back, customers about to eat that food, shouldn't they know who's cooking their damn food? I can tell you guys right now, I've actually caught racist people spitting in people's food. I mean, I can tell you guys so many stories, it's just crazy. But this is what needs to be done for these racists throughout the country, inside and outside of boxing. I can guarantee you it would clean up the racism in this country in a heartbeat. I mean, don't get me wrong, racism will always exist, but it would be nowhere near the level that it's at today. So with that being said, I'm going to keep putting pressure on the WBA and anyone who's even thinking about having this woman score another boxing match. And that's what all of us needs to do. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Diki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodiki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram. Fellas, I've got some great news for you. If you've lost your hair or have a receding hairline, the time has come when you can finally get your hairline back through a process called scalp micropigmentation. So here's how it works. It's a hair tattoo that replicates the look of your hair follicles when you have fully shaved it down. So to get this hookup, make sure you follow and contact my man Scalp Carolinas on Instagram. Contact them at 704-499-3471 and make sure you follow them on Instagram.